Week 3 officially ended last night with a great game between the Ravens and the Lions. And for some of you, your teams are doing great. You may be 3-0, 2-1. Others of us, our teams are 0-3 and it's basically time to hit the panic button. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about those 0-3 teams and their chances to make the playoffs. But before we get too much further, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. It really does help me out here. And I want to give a special shout out to this video's sponsor, Underdog. Underdog Fantasy is by far my favorite daily fantasy app. It's the one I've won the most money with, and it's the most simple to use. All you have to do is pick the higher or lower based on what you think players are going to do, and you can build a ticket with it. You build multiple players. You pick 3, 4, 5, 6 players, up to 8 players in one ticket, and see how you do. It makes Sundays more fun. It's something that's really fun, and something that on Saturdays I build lineups with people who want to watch, and we try to win together. So make sure you use my code TJS for new customers, and then you'll get $50 in bonus funds if you do a $5 wager. Once again, that code is TJS. It's for new customers, and it would really help the channel out. And always play responsibly. Make sure you can only play with what you can afford to lose, and hopefully win some. But I want to thank Underdog for the partnership, and let's get back into the video. Starting 0-3 in the NFL is usually basically means your season's done. Already within the first month of your season, it's gone. But it's not impossible to make the playoffs. 6 teams have done it, the most recent being the 2018 Houston Texans, who started 0-3 and ended up winning their division. It has never been done with the 17-game schedule, however, and that is the big question mark here is, could it be done? So we're going to go over all 6 teams that are currently 0-3 and what I think their chances are of making the playoffs. Starting with the Tennessee Titans. I think Cam Ward is the future of this team. If you're a Titans fan, you have a lot to look forward to in Cam Ward. He was probably the most ignored number 1 overall pick, I think, in history. I don't think any other number 1 overall pick has been this ignored ever, which is sad because he has the talent to become something special. The problem is the Titans team is nothing special. They are not able to win games. They are not able to close out games. They are not able to move the ball. They're not able to stop the ball being moved, which is unfortunate. The Titans need to build around Cam Ward over the next few years, and they could be something dangerous in the league in the long run. Not just the AFC South, but the entire league. That's going to take a few years, though, but there's hope. They have some good cap space. They're going to have a very high draft pick. The problem with the Titans, though, is their schedule is very hard. I look at their schedule, and the only game I really see that's possibly winnable is against the Saints. But again, that's a big question mark. They should be trying to get that number 1 overall pick and trading back because there's going to be QB needy teams, and they are not one of them, and get more picks to build up their line, whatever they need. The Titans can ruin Cam Ward, however, if they don't build around him. So I'm sorry, Titans fans. I have no hope for you guys this season. Good luck getting that number 1 overall pick, and we'll see you next year. The New Orleans Saints. The team hasn't been great, but they've somewhat been in their game, 2 out of 3 of their games, so they're not as horrible as, I thought in the past, but they're still not great. Rattler is not the guy, and Shuck did not look great when he saw action on Sunday. The problem with the Saints, though, is they came into this season in cap hell. They weren't allowed to do a lot, so that really limited what they could do. They also don't really have a quarterback, like I said, in Spencer Rattler or Shuck, so it's really one of those double-edged swords where there's not a lot they can do. This made the expectations in New Orleans very low. It might be time to look at trading Kamara, especially the fact that he may be at his highest trade value he's going to be. It's probably only going to go down from here. This could be a good time to trade him and gain some assets to start that rebuild sooner rather than later. The Bucs should win this division hands down. There's no real question about it. But the one benefit that the Saints have is that they do have to play the rest of their division twice, and having the Panthers and the Falcons in your division, those could be winnable games. So they could sneak a couple wins in here, but I don't see them getting a whole lot of them. I personally think they need to toss Shuck in, see what they have in him, and if they do get that 1st overall pick, maybe drafting a quarterback at that situation. But the only way to do that is to put the rookie in and see what he's got. As for the playoff hopes, it's time to basically start booking those vacations, Saints players, because I don't think you're going to be playing in January. Number 3, the Miami Dolphins. This is a sad one. I like Mike McDaniel. He seems like a really cool guy, great players coach, gives some of the best interviews I've ever seen. His issues are also kind of like D'Amico Ryans. He is not a disciplinary coach. He doesn't really want to get the players mad at him. He seems more like a people pleaser, and that has really hindered his ability to coach in Miami, if you ask me. He has a room full of personality, let's just say that, especially in somebody like Tyreek Hill. You need to be able to coach him and not try to be his best friend, but that's not my point right now. The problem is that the Dolphins are in a very bad place right now. People are expecting McDaniel to get fired here sooner rather than later. There are rumors that Tyreek Hill might be on the move, and the team just looks defeated. It doesn't look like they can put anything together. It doesn't look like they can get the ball downfield. It just looks like they're struggling. The one thing in the Dolphins' favor is that the only team that is really putting themselves out of it is the Bills. They are 3-0, and they're really just, making a run for it. The rest of the division has one win amongst them. There is that potential of moving up in the division, possibly getting those wins, but the problem with the Dolphins is that I don't see that happening. I think the Jets are better than they are. I think the Patriots can beat them. Just with where the Dolphins are at, just with what I'm looking at on the field, they don't look like a team who wants to win right now. I'm sad to say because, again, I like McDaniel. I like the Dolphins. They were a great team when he first got there. They looked explosive, but something has happened there, and it's just not working anymore. Unfortunately for Dolphins fans, I don't think it's going to happen for you guys either. The New York Giants. They looked good in one game. One game they looked good. Outside of that, it's pretty bad for them. This last week, Wilson could not get the ball to Malik Neighbors. He is your best receiver, possibly one of the best receivers in the league. I would at least put him at least in top 5. He is one of the best receivers in the league, and you can't get him the ball. Like, that is your one job, you can't do it. Outside of that Cowboys game, Wilson looks more like his Denver Broncos self than his Seattle Seahawks self, and that is an issue. Brian Daboll is in the hot seat, and he, I think, is starting to realize that Russell Wilson is not the answer. He is not committing to a quarterback this week at this time. He is going to be letting them practice and battle it out, it looks like, and in my opinion, they need to start Jackson Dart. I like Dart better than Wilson. I think you got to get that young blood in there and see what you got in him. Again, the rest of the Giants team isn't terrible. You got Cam Scatterbo, who's a great rookie who's been able to start running the ball and look like he's really the real deal there. Like I said, you have Malik Neighbors. Wan'Dale Robinson is decent. Their defensive front is very, very good, possibly the best in the league. So they have the tools and the weapons to be able to get those wins, but the problem is Russell Wilson is not going to get you those wins. It's time to turn to Jackson Dart and see what he can do. He just needs to be subpar, let alone if he comes out and becomes like a Jaden Daniels. But if he's just subpar, I think the Giants can start winning these games no problem. And of course, while editing, some big news came out. The Giants are going to be starting Jackson Dart. They are benching Russell Wilson. I think this is going to help them win some games. I think they're not going to be 0-3 anymore. I think they are going to win some games here. It just all depends on how Jackson Dart looks. Is he going to look like a Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud, rookie year where he just goes off, or is he going to be more like a Bryce Young, a Cam Ward? So we're going to see, but overall, I think this is the right move for the Giants. So let's see what happens. They do have a very tough schedule, so I don't see them like winning out or anything, but they definitely have games that are very winnable, and who knows what they can do for momentum. So I think they need to put Jackson Dart in there, see what they've got, and there may be hope. Not a lot of hope, but there is some hope to possibly get those wins and get into the playoffs. Number 2, the Houston Texans. The one thing the Texans have going for them is they were in all 3 games that they lost against very good teams. A few mistakes here or there, and they're 3-0. If Dare Gumbawale doesn't fumble in the Rams game on their game-winning drive, they win that game. If Henry To'oTo'o makes this tackle against Baker Mayfield, that ends that drive, and Texans have the ball and they possibly win that game. If Nico Collins doesn't fumble on this drive, who knows what happens in this Jags game. So they have the potential to be 3-0. That is what does give me some hope, is that even with these offensive line issues, the Texans have still been able to stay in games. The issue is the Nick Caley offense. He does not know what he's doing. He's another first-year play caller. This may be one of the worst hiring decisions Nick Caserio has ever made because it's hindering his number 2 overall pick quarterback that started his rookie year amazing and it is now looking like he's regressing due to the team around him. Now, granted, he is making mistakes himself. He's not stepping out in the pocket. He's not hitting targets, but that all stems from a few things. 1, having a good offensive line. 2, being able to run the ball. And 3, having an offensive coordinator who's able to call an offense that actually, highlights your abilities rather than hinders them. Nick Caley's offense is stale and it looks like a high school offense. It is not an NFL offense, and you can see that they can't move the ball down the field. He is telegraphing his plays. He's throwing like 70% out of the time out of the shotgun, and he's running the ball like 67% of the time from behind center. Defenses in the NFL know what they're looking for. They know that's going to happen. They're not doing play action there, but I feel like if they had a decent game script and were actually able to call plays that actually help CJ, this team would be 3-0. This team needs to get rid of Caley fast and install somebody, maybe a coach who's going to get fired here in a few weeks that has some ties to both the Texans and DeMeco Ryans. I'm just saying, maybe. They have a very hard schedule. I count about 9 winnable games. These are games that they should win. And looking at their schedule, they have to play the Titans twice, the Seahawks at home, the 49ers, the Jags, the Chiefs, who again, the Chiefs aren't the same Chiefs team as this past Super Bowl. They could figure it out by the time they're playing the Texans, but as of right now, they're not as scary as they've been in years past. Then they have the Cardinals and the Raiders. Not guaranteed wins, but again, very winnable games. This would give them about a 9-8 record, which in years past has maybe gotten teams in the playoffs, but you have no idea until the season plays out. I don't think 9-8 gets it done this year. If they're able to maybe sneak one away from the Colts and beat the Chargers when they play them in week 17, maybe you can get to 11-6. And if you get to 11-6, I think that you can probably make the playoffs as a wild card. Not win the division because the Colts look very good, but you can at least make the wild card with an 11-6 record. That's a lot of ifs and hopes, so I'm not, banking on it, but there's definitely potential for them to get to the playoffs. Number 1, the New York Jets. I doubted Fields coming in. I really did. I didn't think he was going to be able to lead this team, but I'm actually pleasantly surprised with what I've seen from him. The Jets are a few key plays from being 2-1, which is a much better situation. Outside of the Bills game, they've stayed in games. The defense is very good and should be able to keep them in those games. Fields looks nothing like he did when he was with the Bears. He actually looks like he developed when he was with the Steelers and brought that to this Jets team, and I really like what I'm seeing from him. I think a few more weeks in that system, he's going to look like a completely different quarterback. He's got to get comfortable with it. Looking at their schedule, I'm counting about 11 winnable games. I'm looking at the Dolphins this week, a Cowboys team without CeeDee Lamb next week, and then winnable games with the Panthers, Bengals, Browns, Patriots twice, Falcons, Dolphins again, Jags, and then the Saints. Those are all winnable games. Again, not guaranteed, but definitely winnable games. If they were able to win all those games I just listed, they're 11-6. And like I said with the Texans, 11-6 could probably get it done and make you a wild card team. Again, the Bills should win this division hands down, but 11-6 should get the Jets in the playoffs, and I think they have the most realistic chance of doing this. So Jets fans, I think you guys have it. I think you guys can make the playoffs if you get these 11 games that you can win. But that's just what I think, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Am I way off here, or do you think that one of these teams are going to be able to make the playoffs? Make sure you leave a like and share this video with anyone you know. Really want to build a community here. Want to thank Underdog one more time for the sponsorship. Make sure you use that code TJS at sign up, and that will give me credit and really helps the channel grow here. But other than that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and until the next one, have a good one.